Oh, hey everyone, welcome to the channel, welcome to another video. I'm not even ready yet. Just hold on a sec here, guys. Alright, well, welcome to the channel, welcome to another video. Today we are continuing on the build of this guy right there. That is the F-18E 148 scale by Meng. Okay, so let's get into it. What are we doing? Well, we got some stuff done last time, and we got some paint done, and we are going, oh, hello Mega Boy. We got the gray laid down. So last time you guys were watching, I got the bottom done, but I didn't get a chance to do the top. I now have the top done. So what I did is I just waited about 15 minutes or so for the bottom to dry so that it wasn't tacky, and then I could paint the top. And so that's now done. Remove the masking tape from the black, and then after I let it sit for a day, and then I gave it a nice good coat of semi-gloss, and so that's where we're at right now. So I have some little painting to do. I've got to paint the little gun spot up the front of the nose here to do that, and I've got to paint around the engines, do that little strip there. That's got to be done. But today we're going to assemble the pilot seat and get that taken care of. So right now I gotta grab my D. Okay, I need my D. So let me set up my table here so I can get some sprues laid out. Okay, so where's my D? This is my C. Here's my D. Okay, so we need D 38, 39, and 25. Okay, now this should be fairly simple to find here. There's 25 right here. And I want to thank you guys. I got 2 recent followers on my Twitch channel, and thank you very much. That's really awesome. That brings me up to 50 now, and all I gotta do is get some people chatting in my streams, and then I can become an affiliate, and that would be really awesome. I just wish I could set it up some kind of time where people are going to be coming in and watching me and actually chat. That would be really cool. So we've got to put these 3 together. Now they're showing us painting it, but I'm not doing that just quite yet. Then we're going to put some decals on. Now this has been primed, but it's not 100% primed because I don't have it covering 100%. What's kind of funny is because we've got two D sprues, I actually have 2 seats. Not that I need them, but I have them. So if for some reason you were building the F-18F, which, you know, I'm pretty sure they probably reuse these because you got 2 pilots, or I guess you'd get a pilot in a, what do they call them? The Rio is the guy sitting in the back. D11, where are you? D11, oh, way over here. So, yeah, this I'm sure. I don't even know if Meng makes an F-18F because, well, I wasn't looking at that one or looking for it. Also D12. That's this guy here. Yeah, I wasn't looking for an F-18F when I bought this one, so I don't know. And the F-18F that I do have sitting back there waiting to be built is the Hasegawa? Yes, the Hasegawa version. and I bought that because it's got the Jolly Rogers version that I think is so cool. I've got an F-18E built in the Jolly Rogers, and of course, as well as my F-18E that Maverick flew in the first Tomcat movie, which is why we're building Maverick's F-18 from Top Gun Maverick, the second movie. So yeah, so then I'm going to have both. I have both versions of Maverick's planes, and that's the whole purpose of this. So I wanted to build Maverick's F-18 as well, which I'm sure, from what I've heard, like watching a couple of, there's one guy, I think his channel is Flory Models or something like that, and he did a review on this particular kit, and in his review he says, don't paint it like Maverick's plane, don't do that, there's so many of them at the model shows. They're everywhere. So I guess it's a good thing I'm not going to be taking this to a modeling show, because it would be one of probably 40 others that are done better than mine. But that's okay. This is done. This is my, I keep on saying this over and over again, I'm not a professional. I just do this because I enjoy it. And at the end of the day, if you're not enjoying it, why are you doing it? Right? Okay, so these go together like this, and it kind of exposes the area where it's not going to be touching. So let me change the camera so you can get a little bit better, and you don't have to stare at my ugly face. So a little bit there and there, and grab this, and it goes like that. And that will allow me a little here, a little more here, and actually put some to get the two sides together. Just like that. And then we have this piece that goes on the back. So the detail, which unfortunately it's sad that the detail that's on this is going to be put right against the firewall. Is it the firewall? No, call it a firewall. Bulkhead behind the seat. It's one of those things where I have the detail, and it's nice that you can have the detail. Okay, it's nice to have that detail, but it's going to go flat up against the bulkhead, and you're never going to know that detail was even there. And unfortunately, well, that's just the way it is. Okay, so we have that. Now we got to put our piece on the top. Just like that. And then we got to put in our little piece in the front, and it's going to go like this, and just there's a little hole there for it. So I will take this like so. No, I will do that. I don't want to lose it to tweezer fire. So it goes just like that. I actually flicked glue onto my manual. That's funny. I've never done that before. Okay, so there is our pilot seat assembly, and that's done. Now, I need to paint it, but I think just hitting it with the some Tamiya flat black is probably going to be more than good enough. So let me move these out of the way. I'm just doing a single coat of flat TS6 flat black. I want to offer a promotion to my channel. Well, thank you very much. Viewers, followers, views, chat bots. Oh, that would be fantastic. Yeah, just exactly what I want is chat bots. Right. All right, so there we go. It's currently a nice shiny little seat, but it will dry and it will be flat black. I'm just going to put it here. Okay. And we'll take a look at what's next. I have a feeling that we are pretty much at the point where it's nothing but decals. So we put the seat, we even have decals on the seat. I've got to paint the little yellow around this little pull handle thing. I guess we got the canopy. We can assemble the canopy. Although I do have to paint the piece flat black also. That is in here. This guy here. And we need A27 to go with it. Where's my A tree? Right here. 27 right here. Alright, so we got to get this piece off. This has been primed but nothing else. Although technically that's it for this one, so I'm just going to trim this down just like that. Done. Okay. It was undergated, so I got to trim this. In one sense, it's nice of Meng to do that on a few parts, to undergate them so that you don't have nasty looking nubs on the sides and exposed areas. So that's really nice. That's a Bandai trick right there. Bandai does that all the time. But I don't see it very often in normal model kits. It's only Bandai's. Of course, Bandai is the one company that makes like $1 billion a year selling Gundam kits. Okay, so this guy, he goes in like this, two little holes to line him up in there, like so. This is in the canopy closed position, okay, like that. If we're doing canopy open, then we do a different piece. We would do A35 if we're going to do canopy open, because then that would be angled down. It would angle this thing up like this, right? But you guys know me, I don't do open canopies. I think planes just look cooler with the canopies closed. When you walk by and you look at that model on the shelf, I think they just look cooler closed. But at the same time, what I like to do is I don't glue the canopies down. I just set them there so that if you do want to look at the instrumentation in the cockpit or something like that, and you want to actually pick it up and look at it, you can take the canopy off and you're not restricted by the glare of the glass and stuff like that, right? And that's that's why I do that. Okay, so I want this glue. I'm gonna put it on our two little nubs here. Like that. I'm not too concerned about excessive glue here. I just want it to stick because I got to paint this anyway, and I need it to match because this is going to go down. This is going to go down on here, right? And so it needs to match. It needs to match this as far as color, right? Can't just leave it flat black like this. So that's kind of neat that it lines up like that with the gear and everything like that. That's pretty cool. Of course, I've got my little piece of sponge in here to keep my gauges all nice and clean. But yeah, okay. So let's put that down. So what did I do? Well, what exactly is this color? This is the Tamiya flat black, but it's got the semi-gloss on top of it. And so that is what I'm going to do with this piece. We need to put some semi-gloss to put the Tamiya black on this also. So what I want to do is get a little piece of tape. Now I do have blue tack, but I don't need to mess around with that. I can just do this. Put this piece of tape here. And that will give me something to have my alligator clip grab onto, and then I can spray around it. Okay? Alright, so let's give this a coat of paint. Alright, so that's now nice and wet and shiny, which means it's been a few minutes, so that's probably dry. Let's swap them out. Get that away. So we have our pilot seat. Yes, it is dry to the touch. There we go. Okay, so if we flip this back over and have a look, the color they want is khaki for the seat cushion. So we want khaki colored for the cushion. I've got a pretty decent one here. It's not actual khaki, but actually I do have khaki brown right here. So I will use this. Now this is the Vallejo Model Air, but I'm going to use it, I'm going to brush it. And why am I brushing air colors? Well, because these are, even though you can spray these right out of the bottle, they are thick enough that you can brush paint them and still get really good coverage. And that's what I like about it. So, hindsight, I should have painted this before assembly. It's not the end of the world. You see what I mean by coverage? It covers really nice. Then again, maybe you can't see. Just a sec. There you go. Even though it's thin enough to be sprayed out of an airbrush, it's thin enough to be painted with a normal brush. And of course it's Vallejo paint, so it does dry fairly quickly. And another thing about it being thin is you don't get a bunch of brush strokes as it's drying, and that's really cool. So there's our khaki seat, okay, and I need to clean my brush. So I'll be back in a moment. Okay, so my brush clean. Put this away. Next I want to do a little bit of dry brushing around here to make some of this detail on this seat pop. But before I do that, I'm going to grab my yellow and hit this little guy here with my really nice bright yellow here. Lemon yellow. I only need a tiny little bit, so just as it's wanting to come out of the tip here, give this a little shot of yellow. There we go. Okay. Clean this off. So it's get some leakage happening there. Okay. So now I want to get some silver. Here we go. Nice shiny silver, and I'm going to do some dry brush. Oh, that doesn't look good. Let's clean that off. Okay. Now, dry brush. Just enough on the brush like that. That's good enough. I'm going to dry it almost completely. Of course, I've got some yellow mixed in there, so that's not going to be right. I got to clean my brush. Okay, so let's start this again. Good enough to start. Dry off the brush almost completely. Now I kind of do a test to see how much has come off. I like to just touch and see. Have I taken enough off? Yeah, I think so. Looking pretty good. Just enough to do a little bit. You know, Maverick's plane is pretty brand new and pretty clean. So this is really just to help some of that detail pop out. So when everything is black, the detail kind of just disappears. And that's what the point of doing this is. This will just help some of that detail come out. And the nice thing about dry brushing is, because it's almost dry when you're applying it, you can even like touch it right afterwards and it's going to be fine. You don't have to worry about it. There we go. And that's pretty much all we need to do. Just like that. And we're done. Okay, that's it. That's done. Now, on the pull handle, we have the little tiny black stripes. And when I say tiny, because this pull handle is so tiny, hey, you Ella. Because the pull handle is so tiny, it's going to be fun to do. This brush is too big for that. So we're going to use this brush. I will take this and clean it up properly in a minute. That's another advantage to watercolors, is even if it's dry, it just means you're running out of the water for an extra 30 seconds. So this is just regular black. I'm going to put it in here. Don't need a lot, just a tiny little bit. And you can see how it came out of here, how thick this stuff is, right? Vallejo's model color. Okay. Very tiny, tiny little amount on the brush. I'm going to take my glasses off because I need to get in here and see this. I'm going to start right here. I admit that I am pretty bad at painting the little stripes. That go around the pull handles. My stripes are probably way out of scale. So I'll be the first to admit that they don't look that great. But at the same time, they do the job. They get the point across. They are on there. I'll see if I can show you guys. If it'll focus. There you go. There you go. That's the my little stripe job. Yeah. Okay. Now, I didn't do the greatest job when I first started doing this cushion, so I want to clean that line up right along here. Of course, I do a terrible job cleaning it up. Didn't do a good job on that. I'm not happy with that at all. There we go. Okay, that's better. I'm a little happier with that. All right. again. All right. There we go. That part's done. Okay. This brush is actually, it's not really dirty. I thought it would be dirtier, but it's not. All right. So there is our pilot seat painted. Okay. Let's take a look at our canopy here. This looks pretty good. Now I need to hit this with the same semi-gloss clear that I used on the fuselage. That's the TS79 by Tamiya. It's this semi-gloss. Okay, so we'll let that dry. While I'm at it, I've got my tail fins that need to get that same treatment. There's one. It's now nice and shiny. Do that to this one too. Of course, doing the gloss coat or clear coat is getting this in preparation for decals. Okay. And that's the main reason for doing that. We're getting the surface ready for decals and panel lining. I'm not going to be doing a heck of a lot of weathering on this. I've pretty much done all the weathering I'm going to do on this. As you can tell, last time when I started talking about painting this thing, I was going to be painting it just straight. No shading, no shadowing, no nothing. But then as I was painting it, in mid-paint, I kind of changed my mind and started doing a little bit of some pre-shading in certain areas. You can tell, especially along here and along here, there's a little bit darker. You can see in the fins that it's darker on the fins than it is on other spots. So depending on which camera you're looking at, it depends on how drastic it is. So yeah, I'm not going to be doing a lot of weathering because, well, it's Maverick's plane, and Maverick's plane is like brand new. Even when you look at the photos online of the real plane sitting there, it's like pretty immaculate. It's like a brand new plane. Like almost like they painted it for the movie, which, you know, I wouldn't put it past them. So here's our actual canopy cover, which has been painted and does not have the semi-gloss on it yet. I have to do that. Okay, so let's grab masking tape. I don't want to spray the semi-gloss underneath here, and I don't want to accidentally get overspray in there. So let's just make sure that doesn't happen. Okay. All right, so that's masked off. And the tape will actually give me something to put my alligator clip on. So, doink, there we go. Semi-gloss. Alright, so that's done. While I'm at it, I've got the nose piece, or front part of the canopy, nose of the canopy. I'm not sure what you call it. Let's put this on a little bit better here. 1 and 2. Just to eliminate overspray getting underneath of it. Alright, let's do this one. And there's that one done. Okay, so that is done. This is probably dry. Yes. I'm not happy with the coat on it, so I want to do another spray on this. Just looked a little rough. I didn't like it. How are my tail fins? They look pretty good. They're going to look better when they got some decals on. Okay. Beauty of Tamiya paint, it dries so fast. Okay, let's get this mask off of here. Nice and shiny and clear. And now will be the revealing test of the mask that comes with the kit. That's what this white is. I did have to trim it a little bit because it wasn't quite lining up. Fortunately enough, you get an extra little bit of material on this that it overlaps itself as you're going around, and so even though I had to trim it a little bit for the corners here, there's still plenty to do the whole thing. And I will say it's good. I don't have any bleed through. None of the paint, none of my black bled through it, so it looks good. Yeah. Similar fashion. Now, somebody who built this same kit, their YouTube channel, they mentioned that one corner of this is the square corner like it should be, and then one corner is round. And it shouldn't be like that. And I tend to agree. So they wound up using their own mask on the front of this canopy. in order to correct that error. And as I was putting this on, I noticed, hey, I've got that same little round corner on one side and square on the other, just like he had. But I didn't care. And that's the difference between me and him. I didn't care about it. If you're looking at this thing from more than, this far away, you're never going to notice that one side is rounded and the other isn't. I seem to have a little scratch here from something. No, it's not a scratch, it's just residue from the tape, from the mask. That's all it is. Okay, it's fine. It's fine, it's fine. I can actually use that. Okay, perfect. So there's our canopy. How's this guy doing over here? I am not 100% happy with the way that's looking, but I think it's going to sit in here anyway, and it does. So I'm all worried about how it's going to look, and it doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter at all because it sits in here and you can't see it. Although you can see the underside of it. So this needs to be black. But in this case, because I was so concerned about the other piece being black, I can just do this and paint it like that. So let's hit it with a little coat. Alright, so we have that. Okay, so while that's drying, let's have a look at what we got going here. So this is, we're just about done for today, because once this is finished, the next step really is decals. I've got a little fin to put on the top. No big deal. So I have that sitting here. But while I've got this thing sitting like this all the time, I'm about to glue one of these little fins onto the top, and then now I've got no way to put this, right? Because I've got these two here on the bottom that stick out, which means I don't want to be dropping this down on its belly all the time. And you say, well, why don't you put the landing gear on and then you can set it on its landing gear? Well, because I want to put the landing gear on last, right? Because there's decals to put in everywhere, all that good stuff. I do have our little pod here. This guy is done and ready for installation. He goes right here, like this. Now, what I did color him, I didn't use the same paint painting this guy. I used Tamiya's light ghost gray to paint this guy. And as you can tell, well, that, I mean, you can't tell really, it is a very slightly different color. Tamiya's light ghost gray is just a little bit of a slight bluish tinge compared to the Vallejo surface primer, which happens to be the light ghost gray, which is what I'm using, right? But I wanted to have this one just a little bit different, so you could see, hey, this is actually a different thing. This is not something that's on the plane like the pylons, which never get removed. This thing is something that's been added on there as an addition, and yeah, so that's what this is all about. And that's why I decided I want to have that that color instead. But as I'm getting ready to put the landing gear in, I will put this on at that time. Right now, we're not going to. Okay. We've got the ladder to build also. They don't tell you anything about what color to paint it, but I think the ladders are usually white with red. Alright, so this is dry. So again, this just drops down in here, just like that. So I can put a drop of glue on there and there. Very small. Okay, and then drop this in, just like so. That'll hold it at the back. And then for the front, we want to use, to me, is thin. I think it's sitting right exactly where it needs to be, so I don't need to like press it or try and hold it or anything like that. I don't want to use too much. I don't want to accidentally have it run into the clear. I know I've got lots of coats of paint on this, so that's not going to be the issue. So there we go. There's our canopy. Let that sit for a minute and dry. And it should be happy like that, as they should be. Isn't always necessarily the case, but hopefully it's happy. Let's take a look at our ladder. Off of our C tree. C tree also has all of our landing gear bay doors, which have been painted white on the insides with the red outlines around them, and then fuselage color, the light goes gray on the outside. Boom boom, all of these plus that one and this one and that one. Here's our ladder over here. It's C25. What time is it? Do I have to go yet? I gotta get going pretty soon. So C25, we also need C7 and 63. Well, here's 63 over here. It's kind of ironic, I painted this white over here thinking it was going to be part of the landing gear, and it's not. And I need C7, which is back over here somewhere. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Again, white because I thought it might be a piece of landing gear, but it wasn't. But that's quite alright. It's one less thing to paint, right? Now these are all undergated, so I need to get rid of those. It's funny, they undergate the ladder, of all things. One of the least detailed pieces. And they undergate it. Okay, so we need to line this up on here for these other parts. Because this is going to go on here, and yes, this is going to go like this, sort of. But it doesn't necessarily show me what angle it's going to be at. It doesn't sit at the angle it's supposed to be, so I need to kind of pre-fit and then put the things in. glue it up and let it sit to hold that position. All right, let's put our canopy over here because I'm going to bring our plane over here. So we've got our holes here, and that's where it needs to go. And so it's going to go like this. It's going to go like this. And I can only assume, see, it's on an angle, so it sits like this. And of course doesn't sit in there on its own. We have two little notches on this side. We have this arm, which goes into the lower notch. Okay, so we're going to try and do this here. Back to this camera. Put a little bit of glue on this tip. And we're going to grab our tweezers. This guy sits like this, and this guy sits in there. Like so. Come on. At least face the right way. Really? You're gonna glue there? I thought I put glue on the tip. Alright, so that's how it sits, but we got to get it to line up. It's got to go in this third hole. That's basically that. Okay, and this other piece goes like this, and it mounts on the side. So let's put this down just like that. Goes in almost the same holes. So if we have this lined up here at the bottom, this guy goes like that. And there we have it. There's our alignment. Okay, so now I'm not going to touch this for a little while. That's how they're going to sit. As long as I don't mess around with that, that should stay in its spot. Do one last little test fit. There are holes lined up. And we're not lined up. That's where our ladder is going to stay. Now I would like to just let that sit like this. I don't know if I can get it to. Okay, there we go. So that my friends is where we're going to leave it for today, because I'm not going to touch this. That's going to stay just like that. And yeah, we're not going to play around with it too much. What's next? Once this is dry and I can actually get rid of it, take it off of there, the next step is decals. Okay, I'm going to put decals on this guy. And then once the decals are on, then we'll worry about getting the canopy on and the landing gear. We'll do the panel lining, but that's not going to be tonight because this has to dry. I want to let that dry just like that, and that'll be nice and happy, and I'll be happy, and yeah. So with that, I want to thank you guys for watching. I want to thank you for coming out. Thank you for the subscribers. Thank you for the new flow of followers on Twitch. Thank you for the comments just over here that have now disappeared, but thank you guys so much. If you haven't already subscribed, why not hit that subscribe button down below there? We'd really appreciate it. And if you like this stuff, hit the like button too. That helps out. I'll put links down in the description box below so you can check out my Twitter, my Instagram. Instagram's where I upload all my still pictures of everything that I build. And so you can check that out if you so please. But I want to thank you guys again for coming out. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all in the next one.